ones who made that consensus, when they were asked, where did they get that 95% less harmful? They could not even present any evidence. Therefore, that 95% less harmful na statement is not true. And we know that for a fact it is not true because we have seen people who got sick. We have seen people who died from the use of these electronic cigarettes. So, Your Honor, I am very, very emotional about this because I, as a health person, will not stand uh, trying to will not stand to let these lies just go unrebutted. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Limpin, for that very passionate comments. We'll call on, I think Mr. Dulay was raising his hands. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor. Just on the comment on the intention of RA 11900 on the issue of flavors. No? In January 19, 2022, in the BICAM conference tackling the vape bill, the chairman of the BICAM committee was asked specifically the question if flavors are allowed and if only the flavor descriptors are not allowed. And the chairman of the committee answered in the affirmative. Flavor is allowed, but you cannot put flavor descriptors that are nakakaakit sa mga minor de edad. Lastly, dun po sa ad valorem tax on devices na nakita natin kanina, ang devices po, tinatax na po ng VAT yan. So, pag dinagdagan po natin ng tax yan, parang double taxation na. Hindi naman po siya talagang parang essential, no? Na i-tax kasi yung consumable naman parati ang tinatax. Sa sigarilyo po, if you compare it with cigarettes, ang sigarilyo lang naman po ang tinatax, hindi po yung lighter or kung ano man yung ginagamit yung posporo, hindi naman yung tinataxan. Same taxes lang po din, baka VAT lang din sila. We fully support taxes on consumable products. Yun lang po naman, Your Honor.
Thank you for that. Where's meron pang si Mr. Tistor ng anong grupo po?
Good afternoon, Senator Gatchalian. I'm Saturnino Tistor, National President ng Philippine Tobacco Growers Association and also a farmer leader. I'm representing about 100,000 tobacco farmers in different regions. So, ang masasabi ko lang dito, talo ang tobacco natin, Philippine tobacco, sa ating foreign tobacco na ginagawa nilang illicit trade. So, sana makita rin natin ito ang epekto sa aming mga magsasaka at nagtatanim ng tabako. Salamat po.
Thank you for that. I see, sorry, what AER first, and then I think Mr. Oplas was raising his hand after.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. If we may go back to the slides, I was not able to present one of the slides. I wanted to address one of the concerns of the industry because they've been saying that if we increase the taxes, it's going to kill the industry. But in fact, Mr. Chair, we collected data from the Philippine Statistics Authority on retail prices of cigarettes. And we found evidence that the tobacco industry has actually successfully increased prices, retail prices, more than legislated tax rates and VAT. So what does that evidence tell you? It tells you that they actually had room to increase their prices more than the tax rates. That it's not true that the tax rates are killing them. In fact, I showed a slide earlier on their profits. this is what Dr. Javier has been mentioning earlier. By overshifting, this is a concept called overshifting. They're able to game the market and actually make a killing of the cigarettes, killing literally by killing people and killing in terms of profits. So I just wanted to share that. We can send the slides directly to your office. On the second point on evidence.
Is that in your presentation?
Yes, it's on the slides.
Can we, Comsec, can we show that just in the interest of getting details?
It's the second to the last slide. Right before the policy recommendations. There you go. So in gray is the legislated tax rate plus VAT. So increase year over year. The lines are actually how they were able to increase in retail price. So you'll notice they're all above the bars, meaning the tax rates did not only translate, but they were able to put a little more on top of that. In fact, I'd call your attention to a specific brand that I'll censor as brand MR. If the tax rate increased by 5.6 pesos in 2023, they were able to increase the retail price by 18.84. So if they're saying that the higher prices are killing them, then it begs the question, why are they increasing prices more than what the tax demands of them, Mr. Chair? I'd like to also point out to another evidence point. It's not in the slides. This is something that is consistent with the BIR statements. Earlier, the BIR pointed out that revenue grew from vapes from, I think, 11 million removals to 140 million removals in 2023 to 2024. This is part of actually a consistent trend that removals have been growing exponentially. In 2021, it was 165,000. In 2022, it was 3 million. In 2023, it was 11 million. And in 2024, it's 140 million. It's an order of magnitude of growth every year, which means actually that our BIR is strengthening their enforcement efforts. The taxes are increasing in each of these years, but the removals are also increasing in each of these years. Again, this is evidence that contradicts that the industry is dying. What it actually is showing is that the BIR is becoming more experienced. They're becoming more adept at catching these people. And a personal story, Mr. Chair, when we approached the BIR in 2022, when we were starting this discussion, we recommended that they implement a track and trace system. And sila na po mismo yung nagsabi na, we're already starting to implement a track and trace system. So I think the data, the evidence is showing that good enforcement is possible. And on a last note, and this is a little bit more rhetorical, medyo na-dismaya po ako dun sa sinabi nung dayuhang speaker. Hindi dahil dayuhan siya, no? Pero may sinabi siya, sabi niya, I don't think that enforcement campaign will be successful in the Philippines. And I think that's very disappointing if we adopt that kind of policy stance. We're signaling that our government agencies and that our legislation is impotent in combating illicit trade. I don't put any hope. I don't think there's hope in the vape industry, rather. I think there's hope in our leaders. I think there's hope in our regulators. I think there's hope in legislation to improve our enforcement on these issues. And we really do hope, Mr. Chair, that you will consider our proposals to strengthen the fight against illicit trade and protect the youth and public health in this policy. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Oplas first and then si Mr. Principe.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. 3 points, Mr. Chair. First, yung sinabi ni Dr. Danson na katawa tayo Laffer curve. I think it's economic ignorance to say that, no? The Laffer curve was developed by Arthur Laffer sometime in 1980s, okay? The U.S. income tax at that time was about 50-60%, and Reagan wanted to cut it. And Arthur Laffer was, I think, the chairman of the Council of Economic Advisors, and said that if you do that, 50% is not optimizing revenues for the government. So that's why Reagan brought it down to 35%, and U.S. revenues have generally increased, no? So the Laffer curve is also an explanation why there is no income country in the world, even socially, which have 100% income tax. Because after some time, if you impose an income tax of 80%, people will stop working, okay? Bakit ka magkatrabaho? Kukunin lahat ng gobyerno, papakainin ka lang naman, di ba? So, the Laffer curve, the main application Laffer curve is income tax. Secondary na lang application. So, it is ignorance, economic ignorance to say this katawa-tawa. Point number 1. Point number 2, Dr. Limpin, I'm sorry that I triggered you, but I'm sorry. Sa akin ang galingan. But if you read carefully, I said unintentional, not intentional, okay? Unintentional. No, it's not the same. It's not the same. And third, I think that we are going to a society na yung maraming bawal. Lang lockdown, lockdown, dictatorship was at negative 9.5% contraction. It was the worst contraction in the whole of Asia, and it was the worst Philippine economic contraction